Okay, calm down, Gerard. They're just necromorphs. You dealt with them before. It's the same thing again, but worse. There's more of them. There's a lot of them. I need to work with someone who's dealt with this. Someone who's an expert, who's really bad, but really good, but really bad at dealing with necromorphs. Who am I gonna work with? Who am I gonna work with? Oh my god!
Hey there, buddy. What you doing?
Oh my god.
Hi.
Jesse Cox. Oh my god.
What's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. What is that thing? Right there.
Oh my god. Jesse.
What?
It's a quick time event.
I don't know what that is.
One of us has to die. I'm going to have to kill you.
What? How do you know it's not my quick time event?
That's actually a pretty good question.
You guys saw this? Stand your ground law. He was in my house, my property. Let's start this thing.
Yes!
Dead Space Dos MS-DOS.
Welcome to the Halloween special of The Completionist. And guys, this year I'm Arab Jesse Cox, and on the show is the Irish Jesse Cox.
Me, Jesse Cox.
Jesse Cox actually is one of my good friends. I'm very honored to know him.
Oh, shut up.
I love his videos.
Shut up.
I've been watching for a long time.
Shut up.
So Jesse, tell us why you love Dead Space. What makes it so personal for you and you really enjoy it?
I mean, something about playing an engineer, badass who just goes through space stomping monsters. It's a fantastic game. You are the hero, but you're smart. You're a smart, intelligent hero.
Hey, wait a second. Isn't Dodger gonna be angry because you're playing Dead Space 3 with her on your channel?
Women don't play games. I think the best part about Dead Space is you play a smart guy who smartly destroys
Smart?
Highly intelligent creatures that exist beyond life, death, and resistance.
Hey guys, back away. No, back away from the marker.
Huh?
Guys, it's time to dive back into the survival horror genre with the next installment, one of my favorite franchises, Dead Space 2.
Ah, yes, I do love the Dead Space series as well, and I'm very excited to play with my buddy Gerard.
But Bearded Men, it's no different from the first. It's too much of the same thing. This series ain't growing.
You will shut up and speak when spoken to.
Just like in the original Dead Space, the story is what absolutely drives this game. It is what gives you the strength and endurance to see what happens to our hero.
Also, major spoilers, if you have not played Dead Space 1 by now, you should probably go play it. Or else you will be super spoiled in this next section. Or just go watch last year's review. The choice is yours. Play the game.
And who is our hero, obviously? Well, once again, we get to control the one and only Isaac Clarke, the hero from the first game. And let me tell ya, after hanging out in the Ishimura for a while, Isaac is seriously suffering from psychological damage. Right from the get-go, we are greeted with a heartbreaking conversation between Isaac and his now-deceased girlfriend, Nicole. It turns out that Isaac was the one who pushed her to serve aboard the Ishimura in the first place. Kind of depressing.
Then we're shown a scene where a man in white brutally interrogates Isaac, probing him for information about his past experiences. He doesn't even beat around the bush either. He refers to Nicole as his dead girlfriend. Very smooth.
As the jerk is speaking, none other than a creepy version of Nicole shows up and climbs on the table. She has like a spooky jack-o'-lantern head where her eyes and her mouth light up really bright. Get used to it. It's how she looks for almost the entire game. When her lights get really close to Isaac, it suddenly transitions into the present with someone breaking Isaac free. Just when he cuts Isaac loose, the Helperton gets transformed into a necromorph. Since Isaac is in a straitjacket, it's time to run!
Man, he still can kick ass with his hands tied behind his back.
You quickly find out that you've been held captive, and now, wait for it, necromorphs are running amok. A girl named Dana tells you to escape, and she'll help you out. She later goes on to say that there's this nasty dude named Tideman, and he is the one responsible for holding you captive. You also meet another prisoner who's named Strauss, who's the guy from all the expanded universe stuff, and he wants to band together with you to destroy the new marker. They made a new one, cause people are crazy, I guess. It doesn't even make any damn sense, but they made a new one, and it's back, and it's badder than ever.
And surprise, surprise, on the station is the entire Church of Unitology, dedicated to those who believe the necromorphs are a religious being that have come to make everyone happy, which honestly I kind of love because it just makes the game that much more creepy and weird. It takes us further into the rabbit hole that is the Dead Space franchise.
So essentially, we have Isaac, who is distraught about the death of his girlfriend, hunted for information in his mind by the Unitologist, while Tideman wants to wipe him from existence.
The presentation of this game is second to none. Just like its predecessor, Dead Space 2 plays out just like a horror film would. It can quickly go from a screen filled with horrifying creatures to a small, simple, and confined space. It's very immersive, and the atmosphere draws you in. The visuals themselves, and this really goes without saying, are fantastic. This is one of the best visually designed games I've ever played.
The music and the sound effects are raw and real. The music builds tension like no other. Here's just a little interesting fact for all you music nerds out there. The notes to Isaac's theme are actually D-E-A-D. How freaking cool is that? And the sound effects are just as raunchy as ever, making you feel every crunch of every single skull you put your foot on. It's great.
I think I need to write another Symphony of Destruction. I'll be right back.
Again, most of the story is told through cinematic video logs and rig communicators. The story is slowly revealed by the people you meet as well. This game has Isaac speaking way more than he did before. In fact, he never spoke before. This is the first time he's ever had a voice. He's more of a character that is interacting with more people than just a strong silent type. And you know what? That's alright. I'm totally down with it. And speaking of interacting, there is a way bigger cast of people that show up throughout this game. It has less of a Lost in Space feel and more of a caught in the middle feel.
This game is way more expansive than the first. In Dead Space, Isaac's trapped on just one ship. In this one, we have Isaac traveling to all these different diverse locations. At one point, he even steps back onto the ship where it all began, the Ishimura, now being decontaminated. And having been there, it's really creepy knowing what they're trying to cover up. It's amazing. All in all, Dead Space 2 builds on what gave us so many chills and thrills in the previous one. And yeah, the deaths are much more grueling and gruesome than you could ever even imagine.
At its very core, Dead Space 2's gameplay is exactly like the original, with enough changes to make the game more interesting, but not enough changes to really push the boundaries that the first game really did.
A lot of the new guns have been added to Dead Space 2 to increase the random arsenal that's in Isaac's plight against the necromorphs. But your favorites return, like the plasma cutter, the ripper, the line gun, the flamethrower, and the pulse rifle. They're all back.
Flat out, one of the best additions in the new lineup of guns is the Javelin Launcher. This gun launches a javelin at high speeds towards a necromorph, pinning them against a wall. Like in Dead Space 1, power nodes help you upgrade guns. So with the Javelin Launcher, you can use the special second ability to blow up the javelin.
After a year of waiting, the thrilling conclusion of Space Cadet Necromorph. Tune in next year for the thrilling, chilling, spinning next installment of Space Cadet Necromorph.
The suit swapping interface of the store is still here, allowing you to upgrade, buy ammo, health, whatever you need to keep pushing forward. I have to say that during my initial playthrough of the game, I had a bit of help because I purchased all of the DLC. I also had the collector's edition of Dead Space 2. For those of you who don't know, Dead Space 2's DLC is a lot like the first one, where it actually helps you, giving you access to more powerful suits and guns than you normally would receive. For the sake of this review, upon my first playthrough, I played it legitimately without any DLC items or suits. However, for other difficulties and multiple playthroughs, I did use those DLC-based things. It made it a lot easier, but I also enjoyed it more.
Uh-oh, I smell a completion bonus.
But at its downright fierce core, Dead Space 2 didn't have very many big gameplay changes. Yet at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me that much. Dead Space left me wanting more, and this gave it to me.
There were a few new added enemies that made the game a bit more scary, like the necromorph teens and the babies, the running Reaper raptor guys, screw those guys. But there was a severe lack of bosses in the game, probably because most of the enemies, the big enemies, are actually people, not giant space butts. Regardless of all of this, there is still one very important thing to remember though. Dead Space 2 is about having fun and killing space monsters to maximum carnage. All set to music. Ready, Greg?
Greg, you can't just conduct this orchestra. You don't even have your outfit or gloves on, man. Shh.
After a lot of double-crossing, deception, random characters going insane, including yourself, and just going through hell, it's time to destroy the marker. Strauss constantly reminds you of the steps you need to battle the marker, which up until this point make no sense. But after you come to peace with Nicole, it becomes very clear Isaac needs to remove the code that the marker put in his head. A certain form of cerebral branding, if you will. Yahoo!
And with that, here's a brutal mini-game where you need to access Isaac's brain through his eye. This game is kind of easy to mess up, and if you're playing on hardcore, you're gonna really want to beat yourself up. Especially after this. You've been warned.
As you approach the marker to destroy it, an ugly, torn-up Tideman jumps up and shoots you with a spear, trying to stop you. Defeating him, though, is just an X button away.
Pretty much what you do the entire game!
Ghost accepting creepy Nicole then hugs Isaac only to reveal that she was a lying bitch of a ghost girlfriend. The marker wants to absorb Isaac and kill him. This fight is really easy if you've been upgrading the right guns.
After the marker's destroyed and the Sprawl's reactor overloads, it's about to explode, Isaac, now finally at ease, sits down and is ready to just accept death. Then suddenly, your good old pal Ellie, future girlfriend of mine, who you have helped numerous occasions during this struggle, picks you up in a spaceship and saves you one last time as you fly off into space. There's a great moment at the end that reflects the ending of Dead Space 1, where Isaac was attacked by his ghost girlfriend, and they allude to that maybe it's gonna happen again, only this time, they don't do anything with it, and it's just Ellie's being like, what?
Dead Space 2 has tons of New Game Plus options that really extend the replay value of the game. Yes, all new games do have their achievements, but you know what? Dead Space 2 is one of the few games that I would love to get all the achievements in.
After beating the game the first time, you unlock Hardcore Mode, which I hear is quite a challenge. Hardcore Mode is the same game, yet ammo and life is more scarce, and you only get 3 saves. 3 saves! What the hell is that? That just sounds way too difficult.
It is real tough. Dead Space 2 doesn't mess around. You really need to play Dead Space 2 a lot to fully understand where all the enemies are, how much damage your guns do, understanding how to budget your money. It becomes a grind, but I am happy to report that there is a payoff. For completing Hardcore Mode, you unlock the soldier suit as well as the infamous hand cannon.
Is that a foam finger?
It's not just any foam finger, Greg. It's the most deadly foam finger you'll ever encounter. This finger has unlimited ammo and will turn any necromorph into pieces. All while Isaac yells bang bang and pew pew. So worth it. So let's get something straight. As much as I love Dead Space 2, it is balls hard to complete it first. The game will require like a minimum of 3 to 5 playthroughs, depending on your skill.
You have to beat the game on Zealot mode, which is the hardest difficulty of the game, and beat Hardcore mode, which is the 3 save only run. There's various achievements that involve killing enemies certain ways, like blowing out doors into space, killing a certain number of enemies, even severing off a certain number of limbs.
The devs on Dead Space 2 understood how to extend their gameplay for their audience, and you know what? It's fun. It's difficult, it's challenging, but it's fun as all hell.
Now, I admit I'm not much of a multiplayer guy, so I didn't really play the online stuff, but I did tackle the DLC story expansion called Severed. Severed stars our hero Gabe, who is working on the station at the same time as Isaac's story is taking place. Gabe is a character that happens to tie into other aspects of Dead Space lore. Gabe's wife is considered a super important asset, so the station wants to escort her off the ship to protect her and do further experimentation for the sake of the marker. You gotta save your wife like it's your job.
My wife, my kid, my job.
The DLC is very fun, but it is kind of short. The achievements attached to it are fairly simple to accomplish, especially if you unlock the foam finger. The foam finger will make the overall experience for you go by much, much quicker.
Dead Space 2 is a fantastic experience. The story does a great job intertwining the first and second game, and it really feels like it brings a whole new experience that really makes me want to play Dead Space 3, even though I haven't done that yet.
Those of you who are wondering, if when you play Dead Space 2, there's a lot of stuff from the anime that they released and the books that exist in Dead Space 2 as sort of Easter eggs or sort of expanded universe stuff. So
if you've like bridged everything together, you kind of get like one big nostalgic Easter egg
it's
trip.
Great. It's wonderful. And they really, especially the first 25 minutes of the game, is all like, by the way, that game you didn't play that we developed for like your phone, go play that. That's pretty much what they're saying. Yeah, so it's great.
Completion bonus for this game makes the entire trip for me really worth it. The foam finger is a great, fun tool to just mess up necromorphs, and it's really hard to get, but you know what? I think that completing games is like a rewarding...
It's your job.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
that's my job, yeah.
I mean, really, it's rewarding because then at the end of the day you get paid for it.
That's true.
In money.
In cash.
And that is what it's all about. And video games.
Video games.
Watch his videos. Watch his video. Watch his video.
Thank you. With that in mind, guys, we give this game our completionist rating of complete it.
What?
That's all the time we have for today, guys. So as always, leave your suggestions and comments in the boxes below. And let's give a big thank you to my good friend, Jesse Cox, everyone.
Nerds!
You know, Collaboration Month has been awesome. I've had 4 great guests, but there's something missing. A game franchise that I haven't visited in a while. Is that Ocarina of Time?
What are you doing?
I don't know, Jesse. This feels like fate.
I'm just playing Ocarina of Time, dummy. It's not fate. Dummy.
It feels like an old friend that I...
Get out already!
An old friend. Someone who understands a certain franchise more than anyone that I know. Who loves it as much as I do. Wait a minute, I know who it is.
Alright, cut the crap. It's Ocarina of Time with Peanut Butter Gamer. There.
You gonna push me like that?